Hello there, one and all, and thank you very much for tuning into episode 573 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube as always. Whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording, you are very, very welcome. We have some comments already. Alex, who is joining us under her real name today, hopefully the technology will be on our side, says, hello everyone, hello Mr. P. Scent of the day is Heure Exquise, or yeah, it is Exquise, isn't it, by Annick Goutal. That may be relevant a little bit later on. Perfumed by the Sea says, afternoon scent of the day is Belle de Jour from Eris. Good choice, good choice. I was talking about Eris to somebody the other day, singing their praises. Absolutely loved wearing this today. Yvette is here as well, saying hello. Musique Picnic says hello. EB says hello from Texas. And Rita is here as well, saying good evening, everyone. Okay, for the benefit of those of you watching the live, what is the plan for today? The plan is that we're going to try and do 3 back-to-back videos. We're going to talk about these 2 scents here, and then we'll come back with a showcase, and then we'll come back with 2 perfumes that are reissues of scents that, well, certainly one of them I'm sure most of you will be aware of. I expect a lot of you will be aware of both of them. So that is the plan. Okay, why on earth are we doing scents from Zara? Well, if you don't appreciate the content of today's video, then I would urge you to send all of your fury and righteous anger to Ilias, who's watching from Athens. Yasu Ilia, thank you very much for tuning in. I don't mean that, by the way. If you don't like the content, bring all the complaints to me. Leave Ilias alone. Omar says, I don't bother with Zara because they release and discontinue 50 fragrances a year, not exaggerating, fast fashion. And I'm with you on that. Zara do seem to change their fragrance output, you know, every week, I think. And so even if I do sometimes in passing smell something that seems worthwhile, I think, well, by the time I've got this home, by the time I've done a video on it, it's probably been discontinued. However, Ilias got in touch very, very kindly. Loyal, long-time viewer Ilias, as are many of you, and said that I really, really needed to try this. This is their Leather Jardin, or to be precise, oh no, it's got, there you go, it's called Leather Jardin Zara Exclusive number 4, and it's made by Jo Malone, as in the actual person, Jo Malone. Remember, Jo Malone, the person, founded the Jo Malone perfume brand many, many years ago, but then she sold it to Lauder and she wasn't allowed to use her name on products anymore. That brand is now usually called Jo Malone London. She has her own brand called Jo Loves, but she also has done several scents for Zara. And I'm pretty sure that when she first launched the Zara collection, I reviewed a lot of them on this channel, and I wasn't overly impressed with them. Regular viewers will know that Jo Malone, as in Jo Malone London, the brand is not a brand that I rate particularly highly. The Jo Loves perfumes I also don't particularly enjoy. I've smelt a few of them over the years. They haven't really done very much for me. I don't get them. I think they're meant to be supernatural, uber natural, we should sort of say, full of naturals, very, very natural smelling, but they don't tick those boxes for me. I think there is very definitely a place for easygoing, naturalistic type perfumes, but the Jo Loves ones and the Jo Malone London ones are not it for me. Perfume for people who don't like perfume, says Alex. Yes, we have called them that before. Or Gavin says, it wasn't so much that she wasn't allowed, more she agreed not to for all... Well, yes, sorry. I mean, she signed an agreement, didn't she, when she sold the brand? I think one of the things that she signed away, I'm guessing, is the ability to use the name. Anyway, I trust you guys, and I trust Ilias, and he said, look, you need to try this, and it's on sale. It's on sale on the Zara sale. So I thought... And then he said, oh, it's because I know you like Abbey Rouge and Cabochard. And I thought, well, these are not 2 scents that I would have expected to be name-checked in relation to Jo Malone and Zara. But I thought, let's go with it. And because something else was reduced, I stuck in this one as well into the shopping bag. It's called Ebony Wood, also by Jo Malone. So here we go. Now, I mean, I'm teasing a little bit. I have had a pre-sniff, so this isn't and we have a pre-spray blotter as well. Let us spray the Leather Jardin. I'm just going to move this back a tiny little bit. Does that look all right still? Yes, okay. The thing is, though, if you like the sound of this, then you need to get to whichever Zara website serves you, because I expect it'll be gone. I mean, it was on sale last week. Was it last week you told me about this, Celia? Yeah, you know, I've only had these bottles a few days. Anyway, yes, really, really good, surprisingly convincing, gorgeously retro green leather chypre. I mean, who knew? Who knew this had been waiting for us all this time at Zara? What's the cost? I think this one, the reduced price was something like $18.99 or $19.99 for this bottle, which, I mean, it looks like it's 100 mils. Is it 100 mils? Pretty sure it's 100 mils. I can't see because the writing's all rubbed off. I mean, that's got to be 100 mils, hasn't it? Didn't see this coming, says Xabi. No, neither did I. Like I said, we have Ilias to thank for this. Now, the interesting thing as well is that apparently this is a perfume that has been around for a little while. So we have had a Leather Jardin, I think, since 2021. So it's not one that they got rid of that quickly. So clearly there were a few people out there who appreciated it and enjoyed it, and it's stuck around until 2025. Now, whether that means it's finally going and that's why it's reduced, who knows? But there must be some bottles of it around somewhere. EB says, I think Leather Jardin is okay. Ooh, so you know it as well. I mean, all of you send me recommendations for Zara perfumes. Is okay, says EB, but it feels like a classic that was reformulated badly. It is a good value, but I think there are better leather chypre. Gavin says, who knew Jo Malone knew what a perfume was with more than the 3 notes? Okay. Why is it called a leathery garden? Garden of... Who knows? I mean, let us... I think if we're going to expect Zara's perfume names to be some kind of, you know, a direct reflection on the content of the perfumes, we may be sorely disappointed a lot of the time. It is green, it is leathery, it's got that kind of nouveau mossy chypre base. It doesn't particularly make me think of Abbey Rouge, except maybe, I suppose, the kind of leather touch. But it does have that, you know, if we accept that Cabochard, which I keep wanting to call Cabotine, which I mustn't do because they're very different scents. If we accept that Cabochard is meant to be like a quieter, more restrained, maybe slightly more floral, slightly smoother around the edges version of Piguet's Bondy, then this does kind of do that. I'll be very curious to know what the brand says about it, and I have got the brand's own blurb, which is very, very brief. It says, created by Jo Malone, CBE, founder of Jo Loves, EDP, an elegant fragrance that opens with a sparkling freshness of grapefruit, reveals a heart of sophisticated rose and settles on a deep and refined leather accord, a statement of character with a touch of distinction. I'd really love to know how it did. I'd really, really love to know if it was successful enough with Zara's perfume buyers. I mean, I am a Zara shopper, but I'm not a Zara perfume shopper. I'd really love to know how many people walked into a Zara and smelt this and I thought, oh, this is amazing. I must have this. Ilias says, to me, there is a rose lurking in the dry down that only hints at Abbey Rouge, okay? But mostly it feels like a modern Cabochard or Aramis. Yes, and both Cabochard and Aramis, unless I'm mistaken, were made by Bernard or Bernard Champ, I think. The Cabochard was. I'm pretty sure Aramis was as well. If I were brave enough, I would pick up one of these Michael Edwards books here and verify all of this, but I'd rather not because it may mess up the entire arrangement. And we should do the pre-sprayed. So where's pre-sprayed? I popped those over here, didn't I? Because this was sprayed, I suppose, maybe about 4 or 5 hours ago. Pop that on there. So this is the Leather Jardin. It's gone much quieter. So I suppose people would be saying, oh, well, what do you expect for £20? If it was more expensive, it would last longer, which wouldn't necessarily be the case, by the way. There is not a sort of, by no means is there a direct correlation between the price of a perfume and its long-lastingness. But you've still got, you've got that kind of mossy dry down, and I know what you mean about the rose, Elias. I suppose maybe in its dry down it becomes a bit gentler, and maybe that's where the garden thing comes out. So maybe in the beginning it's meant to be the garden at, at high noon, the sun is baking, and the sort of green notes come out more, and with them a kind of leathery facet, and then perhaps as evening falls it all just kind of gets toned down a little bit. It's nicely done. Okay, it's not original, it's derivative, but like I said, and like I've said on this channel many times before, I think we can only expect single digits worth of original perfumes per year. Doing something truly original is truly difficult. But I was impressed, and I'm impressed with the smell. But I guess what actually impresses me is that it came from Zara. And I know I shouldn't be judgy that way, but I guess I am when it comes to Zara's perfumes based on past experience. Gavin says, I'm not a leather man in terms of perfume anyway. Well, fair enough. Is it forgettable, says Xabi. No, it is good. It is, if you want it, it really does convince as a kind of retro leather chic. It absolutely does. Now, Ebony Wood is a little bit different story. So this is my pre-sprayed Ebony Wood. I must put that away so I don't get confused. But again, not the kind of thing that I would have expected from a Zara scent. And I think the main lesson for me, the main takeaway, I suppose, as we're meant to say, they even have magnetic caps, these things. I think it had been a while since I had properly smelt Zara perfumes. And I guess the main lesson for me was that I thought I ought to just give them a bit more time of day. A few years ago, I think some were made by Alberto Morillas, and I never really got a chance to smell them. And it's odd that I don't pay much attention to them, because many years ago, and we're talking like probably a good 15 years ago, I picked up 2 giant colognes. I think they must have been like 200 or 300 mils, and they were ridiculously cheap. I think they'd been reduced down to 3 or 4 euros each, and this was in France. And I picked up a Vetiver one, and I wore that to death. It wasn't a particularly prominent Vetiver note. It was just a kind of light cologne that headed a bit in the direction of Vetiver, but it was such an easy wear, and it was so pleasant. And I don't know why I think maybe what happened is I smelled a few more Zaras and they kind of didn't do much for me, so I gave up. So this is Ebony Wood. Pretty dull names, and I think this is another one that comes under the emotions range. This is far more generic. This has got a kind of citrusy, again, maybe grapefruity, perhaps cypress, and a kind of blackberry. I remember, yes, that's what I thought, because that's what I wrote in my little book, I think. It felt like a sort of raspberry or blackberry, peppery kind of thing. And it made me think, oh, is this meant to be like her return to blackberry and bay, that kind of thing? It was sort of fruity aromatic with a slightly fruity berry-like musk in the base. Pretty. And smelling these two, when I think back to some occasions when I smell mainstream perfume releases that cost 3 times as much as these do, and make me cringe with the cheapness of their materials and the crassness of their composition, these don't do that. I mean, I'm probably never going to wear this, and I shall probably, the next time a kind of younger visitor comes around to the house, I'm going to say, do you fancy this bottle? But it's pleasant. It's pleasant. What are you folks saying about it? Expanse Floating says, the entire male-targeted line at Zara is very disappointing. They all smell virtually identical in a harsh, mass-appealing way. Interesting, because I think this Ebony Wood one was actually aimed at women. Job says they sometimes realise which perfume gets hyped and then re-release it under stories. That's interesting too. John Lynn says, I'm a huge fan of the Jo Malone line at Zara. Okay. I have 3 Energetically NY Elixir, Whiteley Tea Dress Elixir and Vetiver Pamplemousse Elixir are all beautiful. Good to know, good to know. Karen says, I love Jo Malone fragrances. The dupes that emphasise longevity ruin the overall effect of what Jo Malones are supposed to do. And Alex says, that sounds like a pretty affordable alternative to the high-priced mainstream perfumes. And just to be clear, I don't think we count these as dupes, right? Dupes are the actual ones out there that say to you, you know, buy this and we're trying to copy Tuscan leather, or buy this and we're trying to copy, I don't know, some abomination from Parfum de Marly or something like that. These at least are making out that they are bona fide original fragrances, even though it's pretty clear that they're mostly derivative. What they say about Ebony Wood, created by Jo Malone CBE, founder of Jo Loves, a woody fragrance with notes of grapefruit, cypress and pink peppercorn, which melts into a heart of coffee. Its base of patchouli and vetiver provides a warm and elegant touch. I mean, I get the patchouli coffee. Maybe I need to try it on skin. So, there we are. Ilias, thank you very much. This one is staying in my collection, and actually I will spray it with abandon and wear it with abandon, but I will leave you with this little nugget. I will see if I can sneak it past Madame Persolaise, because if there is one genre that she really can't stand, it's a green leather. She doesn't like green notes. So if I wear things like Azuré, she asks me never to wear that again. I was very sad when she declared that she doesn't like Francesca Bianchi's Etruscan Water. That really did make me very sad. So we'll see how this one does. But I think maybe a little bit of careful spraying and standing away from her when the wind is blowing the wrong way. Maybe she's watching now, says Xabi. She has far better things to do than to watch my face on YouTube. So yeah, just wish me luck. We'll see if we can sneak it past her. Okay, thanks very much for watching. We will be back in a few minutes with a showcase. So see you in a bit. Bye now.